So yeah, been watching some stuff tonight. Got off work and wanted to catch up on a few things. Caught a little bit of the Mandalorian. I finally am, got caught up. I watched the 16th episode of season 2 with the wife. Um, it was fantastic. So I did start it on a good note. But then I got a wild hair up my ass and decided to use my friend's Disney Plus account to watch Mulan 2020. Um, that's where I fucked up. That's why I fucked up right there. Mulan 2020. What a fucking crime of a movie. I'm almost in shock because I had heard a little bit from the reviews and stuff. I thought to myself, oh, you guys are haters. This movie costs a lot of money. It looks okay on the trailers and stuff. You're probably just being haters. So I gave it a watch, and oh boy. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now. You can save your money. Just watch the cartoon. It's better. It's a much better movie. I feel like they just went the lazy route 100%. Take me a little dabberoonie real quick, and then I'll get into it with you. It's a pretty hard movie to get through. I mean, I take breaks during movies sometimes. If they're a little long, I just don't find them that interesting. This particular movie, it's only, I think it's around 2 hours long. I had to take 3 different breaks. Take a dab, take a poop, just rest my mind, get the fuck away from this movie for a short period of time. Oh man, so bad. So first off, the fucking movie starts off with Mulan as a little kid, and they have a bunch of chickens in a chicken coop, and she's chasing this one chicken around her little village with a stick. She's not, trying to chase the chicken to maybe like scoop it up with her hands and deal with it that way, like a normal person might have a thought process. She wants to fucking chase the chicken around with a fucking stick. Ends up doing all sorts of acrobatic shit. Ends up like climbing on top of the village walls and breaks shingles off of shit, and it's just really stupid. It's really dumb, and it ends with her dad yelling at her, as well he should. She's like 7, and she's doing all this like parkour shit. Never explains where these abilities come from. We're just supposed to know that it's the chi. Sorry, technical issue. So yeah, none of this is explained to us at the beginning of the movie. By the way, we're just supposed to believe that the 7-year-old can do parkour shit and fucking do 20-foot flips and jumps, and she ends up like using a stick to like break her fall in the crevice of the wall, and she lands on a wheelbarrow. It's just a fucking ridiculous beginning for the movie. I'm already like, this is a dumb intro. This is a dumb movie already. And then it shows her a little more grown up. It just kind of goes from that scene to her being a young adult or an older teenager. I don't really know. And I do have to give the movie this. It has beautiful cinematography. China is a pretty place. Lots of beautiful hilly woodlands and and forests. China is it's gorgeous. I would love to go someday. That's one of the bright spots in this movie. I almost feel like this movie is a 2-hour tourist video. Just something to get as much tourism to China as possible. I don't know. I don't know. They rushed the elements of the story along so much to where it's hard to believe this is like a real movie. So to continue, it goes from her being a little kid chasing chickens with a stick to her being a teenager riding her horse around instead of being at home doing fucking chores like a little Chinese girl should be doing. And so her parents decide that they need to marry her off, which does happen in the original cartoon movie. And they do take her to the village matchmaker, who is just as much of a cunt as the animated version. Really, really fucking bad. And the thing that starts the ruckus with the matchmaker in this movie is that a spider comes down on a web. Keep in mind, in the movie, it was established Mulan's sister is afraid of spiders. Spider comes down on a web, and Mulan tries to hide the spider with the teapot, and for some reason, moving the teapot on top of the spider didn't crush it to death. And then she has an argument, a back and forth with the matchmaker, where to move the teapot. So eventually does, and when the spider moves again, her sister sees it, which is weird because it seems like she saw it when it came down, dangling on the web in the first place. And then she freaks out. All of the dishes fly up in the air. Mulan catches them all. But then at the last second, she gets like covered in the tablecloth, and then she drops all of the dishes. Which, keep in mind, they would have all broken if she didn't catch them in the first place. But the matchmaker becomes infuriated and kicks her the fuck out and declares shame on the Wall family. It's like, bitch, it's your fault. She tried telling you there was a fucking spider under the teapot. You don't want to listen. It was just dumb. It was dumb. It wasn't even like a well planned scene. And then while this is happening, that's when the king's men roll in with the royal decree. Because of all the different strongholds, the Rorans have been attacked. They're the Rorans in this movie, which, from what I understand, is actually more historically accurate. So I guess Disney did something right. Yes. So of course, just as it was in the cartoon movie, they go from town to town to make sure to take a male from every family to fight off the invaders. It plays out sort of similar with the dad being a prideful man, which I gotta say, the dad's character development in this movie is fantastic. He's like the only character in the movie that I would say was good, like a good example of acting. He's the only shining example in the entire movie, and so they have a back and forth at dinner that night, kind of how they do in the original animated Disney movie. And the dad ends up telling Mulan to learn her place, and then Mulan, the version of their version of this scene is very bleak. She just goes in and she sort of swings her dad's sword around, and then gets dressed and leaves. It's pretty much what it consists of. And then when the dad finds it in the morning, he pleads to the Phoenix guardian of his family to please protect Mulan. It's what they replace Mushu with, is with a phoenix. It's pretty weak. The phoenix doesn't talk at all, kind of just shows up randomly to guide Mulan throughout the story. Sort of like a plot device. Honestly, the phoenix is a plot device a lot of the time. And so she rides where they're supposed to meet, and she gets acquainted with all the characters, which they hardly even bother to name. I think they all the same characters from the animated movie, Poe and the others, but they never really establish their names. They kind of just say them in certain scenes, it's all very haphazard. You're just supposed to guess who's who. It's kind of obvious from the way they make the characters look, but it was just done really bad. Um, and then her romantic interest is just this like douchebag that picks a fight with her as soon as she shows up at the barracks, and he picks little fights with her throughout the movie, and it's weird because it already seems like when she's posing as a man that he's flirtatious with her, like he wants to fuck, and like as far as he's concerned, she's a man, so it's like is he gay or like they don't want women in the military, but it's okay for like dudes in the military to like be gay with each other. I don't know. It's a very odd thing that they never really delve into. Um, but moving out, it was download shit. I don't know. Maybe she was like, Hu Dong. Let's go in the other room and rub our dongs together. I don't know why I made him sound Russian. But anyways. Oh man, this fucking movie. I feel like it zapped some of my brain away. Like I feel like I've been assaulted. I've been made partially retarded from watching Mulan 2020. Has serious side effects. Um, but yeah, they train, and it's pretty much just a sequence of montages. They have to carry like 2 buckets of water up some steps on a mountain. Honestly, it doesn't look that hard. It looks like I could have gotten it after a week, and I'm a fat fuck. Um, it just this movie, it's so rushed along that they don't bother to make any sense anywhere in the movie. Um, all the different strongholds are getting picked off by the Rorans while they're training all the new soldiers to fight. And eventually, they find out that the Warrens are nearby the training barracks and they're poised to attack. So they get all the soldiers ready. The main, like lieutenant guy, not quite general, he gets his regiment together to go meet the Warrens, which is pretty ballsy. And they have this little fight in a field. There's a ballista involved. Um, they do like these shield formations, which they try and crush. That the Rorns try and crush with their ballista, which doesn't make really any sense because that's for like siege battling. I get that they probably brought that because they were planning on doing a siege. Um, but it was just really silly. There's a part where Mulan, it seems like she plans it too. Um, she gets them to shoot the ballista at her by putting soldiers' helmets up on some rocks, and she's over by the mountain with a bunch of ice caps on it. And so they start shooting the ballista at her, which is stupid on a lot of levels on their parts. As part of the story, just dumb. And that's what causes the avalanche. Um, so that's one thing that they have in common with the old movies, Avalanche. Which Mulan's horse, I guess, has special protection against avalanches because the whole time there's soldiers being crushed and killed, and Mulan is just like gliding above the ice on her horse. She ends up saving her love interest, the douchebag mentioned earlier. Um, and it's all because of her that they get saved. Literally, that she saved everyone's lives in the regiment. And when she rides back with her hair down, she's got her red robe on. She's like, "Yeah, Mulan, hot shit." Um, she gets banished. She comes back because she meets the leader of the Rorans, like friend, who's like a witch character. She turns into a hawk and shit. It's really dumb. She also turns into like a flock of birds. And she lets, for some reason, it's like a James Bond villain. She lets her know about Bor Khan's plan to storm the Imperial City and kill the Emperor. So she goes back and shares that information with the rest of the regiment, and they go and save the emperor. And which they do through a bunch of really convoluted battle scenes where Mulan is basically just kicking a bunch of ass, and she uses her chi, which she unlocks by embracing her womanhood. And it's basically like having the Force. So this movie, it almost feels like a drunk guy watched the animated Mulan movie from the 90s, and then the next day tried to recite from memory that movie, and then somebody made a movie out of that drunk guy's fucking script. Terrible. I just watched Obamaland, a low rate political comedy on Amazon Prime, and that was really bad. That movie was easier to get through than Mulan 2020. Really fucking bad. Like an hour and a half, 2 hour movie. It took me 3 hours to watch it. So many dabs. I'm surprised I can still speak to you all at this point. Mulan 2020, man. Fucking so bad. And the fact that they had Uyghur detention camp prisoners help with this movie. It's like you had to throw billions of dollars at this movie and use slave labor. And it was still this fucking bad. Still this fucking bad, man. Jesus Christ, how incompetent are you? You have slaves. Ugh. Terrible goddamn movie. So yeah, I'll save you the trouble right now. Just watch the cartoon. It's better. On the bright side, Mandalorian was pretty good. So I'm looking forward to next season. Thank you.